Going from a police officer position to the FBI or to federal. Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started, I have those two gifts down in the description for you. One of them is the Getting Started workshop. It's going to walk you through every phase of the police or law enforcement hiring process so that you know what's coming your way and you can best prepare for it. Plus, there's a bunch of hidden bonuses in there that will really help you along with your process. Additionally, if you have something specific to your hiring process, something you want to know regarding your background or the poly or anything along those lines, jump on a free coaching call with myself. I'd be glad to sit down, help you work through whatever you want to discuss. Now, should you go law enforcement or police officer to FBI? The question is what's your goal? If you're a police officer, or if you want to become a police officer and use that to a stepping stone to the FBI, will it help you? The obvious answer is yes, of course it will. Any law enforcement background will definitely help you. But if you were to jump on USA Jobs right now and you were to type in FBI, you would see a bunch of different aspects to getting into the FBI. You would see there's a teacher one, there's a language one, there's a law enforcement one, there's a accountant one. All these, because the FBI is so nuanced and has such specific divisions, each one of these backgrounds, they're looking for individuals to train into law enforcement officers to facilitate those areas. Now, that's not saying that you can't go from law enforcement into the FBI, because they have a specific hiring one for that as well, right? If you want to apply strictly to law enforcement and you have a law enforcement background prior, then you can go not straight into the FBI. You got to go through the hiring process, of course, but it is a leg up opposed to just applying directly to the FBI, which, by the way, most people don't understand. You can apply directly to the FBI. They're just going to pick the most qualified candidates. And the qualified candidates means those who have the most experience, who will require the least amount of training or the least amount of risk of not making it through the process. That's what you need to understand about the hiring process. It's not always just about hey, this person has military background, or no, this person has experience or qualities that we feel would allow them to make it not only through the entire hiring process, but through the entire training process. The last thing you want to do is spend a few $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars on a candidate, getting them through the hiring process, and then they can't make it through the academy or through their training regiment. And that's just a waste. And then that department is starting back at zero. So that's what they're really looking for when it comes to experience. So if you're one of those candidates, say, hey, I'm going to start in law enforcement and eventually I want to apply to the FBI, great. You are giving yourself a huge leg up, especially if you're in the patrol sector. If you're out there actually dealing with people, having conversations, learning those interviewing techniques, those are the things that will really sell to law enforcement in the FBI or any special agent position in the federal sector. One thing that I don't want individuals to do, specifically you here, is to limit yourself just to the FBI. If the FBI is your dream, then do it. Go for it. I'm here to help if that's what you want to do. But if you want to just kind of get into the investigative federal sector, there are so many positions out there, all ranging all the way from the Office of Inspector General, which is for every federal department out there and every federal building out there almost, all the way over to the FBI, right? You could go NCIS, you could go OIG, you can go special investigator in the Park Service. There's a million, maybe not a million, but there's tens of thousands of positions out there for you to lateral to in different sectors of the federal government. But specifically talking about the FBI here, having that prior law enforcement experience is a significant leg up. I wouldn't recommend, unless you have an accountant background too, I wouldn't recommend applying to the accountant position available for the FBI special agent unless you were a law enforcement officer and an accountant. Then I would say, yeah, or you have those numbers background. And that would just make you a killer applicant. But if you come in from the law enforcement perspective and you want to say, hey, I want to go get my feet wet in local or state level or county level, and then not lateral, but then apply to the FBI, it's going it's going to significantly put you above those who are applying directly, say out of college, without any experience. And that's the critical component here. You've already become, or if you become a law enforcement officer, you've already went through a police academy. You already understand legality and use of force and all these other things that you have to learn in the FBI, plus the investigation techniques and the criminal investigation and all the components that go into it. But you have that experience, right? That experience is what's going to allow you to grow. As I mentioned before, you can apply directly to the FBI without that experience. Go on USA Jobs, type in FBI agent or type in FBI and scroll through. You will see all the positions they have available, or that they're announcing right now, I should say, all the way from analyst positions to, to manager positions to even custodial positions. And then you'll see all the law enforcement special agent positions. And that's what you're looking for. Make sure if you're ever going to apply to them, that you're looking to make sure it's a sworn law enforcement position. You can usually see that in the description where it says this is a sworn law enforcement or individual is required to carry a firearm. Those are the type of things that you want to make sure of. Otherwise, you might be applying to just an unsworn analyst position, something along that line of employment. It's not, how to best word this, it's not that the FBI is the apex of everything. They have their specific focus, just like local, state, and other federal law enforcement have their specific focus. If criminal investigation is the goal, and like I said, FBI is not hey, it has to be FBI. There's so many other options out there for you in law enforcement. But going from law enforcement or police to FBI, it's definitely going to be that leg up that you want to have over other candidates. But first, if you're going to take that route, which is a great route to take, I think getting that training and experience. As I get older, I realize how critical training is and how much I'm not opposed to going through more training. It's actually a great refresher, and you only get sharper and better along the way. But if that was my path and I wanted to go into the FBI, I think I would start at a uniform position, whether that's in the federal sector or in a local municipality or state or county sector, and then work my way up. Be advised, though, the FBI usually has a cutoff at 37, right? So the last time you're eligible to apply is 37, because they fall under law enforcement retirement, which means it's a forced mandatory retirement at 57 without some extenuating or some extra additives in there. But yeah, you can 100% do it. And if that's something you're passionate and your dream about, a typical police position, I shouldn't say typical, a uniform police position will definitely give you that leg up. So think about it. Law enforcement, go through one academy at a local or state or county level, or even another federal level for uniform, and then try to apply to the FBI, leveraging the experience and knowledge that you've gained previously. I don't think anyone's gonna fight that one with you. Just make sure you try to get as much training as you can possibly when you go into a uniform position, which was always my goal when I was going through all my training, or even with my departments. I leveraged every training opportunity I could get, all the way, even something as simple as CPR first aid. Being proficient in that led me to that and some other things led me to a tactical medicine instructor position, which skyrocketed my instructor career. So you don't ever know what leverage, what leverage you can use from prior experience. And an FBI is up there in the top tier law enforcement divisions and departments. So you got to put your best foot forward. All right, I hope this helps. Remember, those gifts are in the description. The first one being the Getting Started as a Police Officer online course. It's going to walk you through every stage of the hiring process, plus those hidden bonuses. Additionally, the one-on-one coaching call with myself. If you're looking to say, hey, I want to start in uniform, or I want to apply directly to the FBI, jump on a coaching call with me, or anything you want to discuss with law enforcement, and I will help get you through whatever I can in your questions. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.